The House of the Seven Gables looms over Salem like a sentinel of dark history, its crooked windows and twisted spires casting long, uneven shadows over the cobblestone streets. Built in 1668, the old mansion seems to breathe with the weight of centuries, each brick whispering secrets long buried, each gable a finger pointing towards the gray New England sky. Here, the past is not content to rest in peace. Here, history refuses to stay silent. There is something about the house that draws people in, something almost magnetic. Perhaps it's the architecture, a tangled maze of narrow corridors and creaking staircases, or the way the windows seem to watch the streets below with a gaze that never blinks. It stands near the sea, its weathered frame lashed by salty winds and the whispers of ghostly sailors lost to the depths. But the sea's salt is not what causes visitors to taste the bitterness on their tongues when they step through its ancient doorway. It is something darker, something that lurks just beneath the surface of the house itself. The house, as the story goes, was cursed from the very beginning. Captain John Turner, the original builder, was a wealthy merchant, a man with grand visions and darker ambitions. They say he built the house on cursed land, a plot once owned by Matthew Mawley, a poor carpenter who was accused of witchcraft in the infamous trials of 1692. Before his execution, Maul cursed the land, spitting words that chilled the souls of all who heard. God will give you blood to drink. And as the noose tightened around Molly's neck, they say the earth trembled, the sky darkened, and the house shuddered, as if it had absorbed those words, those dire warnings, deep into its bones. From that day forward, the Turner family was plagued by misfortune. The firstborn son, John Turner II, drowned mysteriously in the harbor, his body found bloated and tangled in seaweed, his eyes open staring up at the unseen heavens. His daughter, a bright and cheerful girl named Mary, was found dead at the foot of the grand staircase, her neck twisted at an unnatural angle. The doctor said she fell, but the servants whispered of a shadow that seemed to follow her steps, a cold presence that lingered just out of sight. Those who have dared to stay in the house after dark speak of strange happenings, of voices that whisper in empty rooms, of footsteps echoing down the halls when no one is there. The attic, in particular, seems to hold a darkness all its own. Some claim to have heard the faint sounds of crying, a woman's sobs that drift down the stairs like a mournful wind. Others say they've seen her, a pale figure in a long dress, her hair flowing like water, her face hidden in her hands. She stands by the window, staring out at something only she can see, waiting, always waiting. The curse, it seems, was not content with just one generation. The house changed hands, but its new owners fared no better. The Pynchon family took possession of the mansion in the 18th century, a family with old money and darker secrets. Colonel Pynchon, the patriarch, was a stern, imposing man with a reputation as hard as the stones that built the house. He was determined to make a grander name for himself, to erase the whispers of witchcraft and curses that clung to the house like a stain. But on the very night of a grand celebration, when the house was filled with the brightest lights and laughter, Colonel Pynchon was found dead in his study. His face was frozen in a grimace, his eyes wide open, staring at something unseen. A cup of wine had been knocked over, staining the carpet red, a reminder of Molly's curse, the promised blood to drink. Rumors spread like wildfire through Salem. The townsfolk said it was the ghost of Molly, returned to take his revenge. They claimed to see Molly's face in the windows, his shadow moving across the walls. The house began to fall into disrepair. The once grand mansion became a place of sorrow, of madness. The Pynchon family, one by one, fell victim to tragedy. Accidents, suicides, mysterious illnesses. The house seemed to feed on their suffering, growing colder, darker with each passing year. The stories grew darker still. A servant girl was said to have vanished without a trace, last seen near the cellar stairs, where the shadows seemed to twist and coil like living things. A governess went mad, claiming she saw the ghost of Colonel Pynchon staring at her from the mirror, his eyes burning with a terrible light. The house grew emptier, more forlorn. Windows were boarded up, rooms sealed off, as if trying to contain whatever haunted its halls. But the house would not be silenced. The walls seemed to whisper, the floors creaked with the weight of unseen feet. Guests spoke of feeling watched, of icy hands that brushed against their skin. A cold wind would blow through the halls, even on the hottest days, carrying with it the faint scent of the sea and something else, something acrid, like smoke and decay. When Nathaniel Hawthorne, the famous author, visited the house, he felt its presence immediately. His great-grandfather had been a judge in the witch trials, and he felt the weight of that history pressing down on him. He would later write his own tale of the house, a Gothic masterpiece that would immortalize the mansion's name, but even he could not capture the full extent of its malevolence. Hawthorne spoke of dreams that haunted him after his visit, dreams of dark figures moving in the shadows, of blood and fire, of eyes that watched him from the darkness. Today, the House of the Seven Gables stands as a museum, a relic of a time when shadows danced in the candlelight and fear walked the streets of Salem. Visitors come from all over, drawn by the promise of history, of ghost stories, of a brush with the unknown. They walk the halls, their footsteps echoing in the emptiness, their breath visible in the cold air, even in summer. They stand at the base of the grand staircase, looking up into the darkness, listening, always listening. And some swear they can hear it, a faint, distant sound, like the soft rustle of a dress, or the whisper of a name. A cold breeze brushes past, and for a moment, they see her. A pale figure standing in the shadows, watching, waiting, forever bound to the house, to its curse, to its darkness. They leave, hearts pounding, glancing back over their shoulders at the house that looms above them, its seven gables sharp against the sky, like the talons of a great, unseen beast. And as they step back onto the cobblestones of Salem, they hear the door creak shut behind them. The sound almost like a sigh, or perhaps a laugh. For the House of the Seven Gables is never truly silent, and its shadows are never truly still. And those who dare to enter its embrace may find that the past is not always willing to let them go.